One of the ways we can cultivate community is by hearing God together. In Hebrews chapter 1, it says that long ago God spoke to his people through the prophets, but now he speaks to us through the Son. It also says in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, it says, "For we know in part and we prophesy in part." So as we think about that together is now we each get a piece of what God is saying, but together we get greater clarity and we can have greater confidence that we're hearing from God. Now, if you prefer to control people, then you are not going to like this at all. And so, if you're just wanting people to follow the charismatic leader who claims to have more access to God than everybody else, then this point is not going to work for you. But if you're interested in empowering people and creating a space where you actually listen and hear one another and what God is saying, this dynamic in a community could create a sense of awe. In the book of Acts, they talk about awe being part of what it meant to be a community. And so when we come together and we hear God together, we can have greater clarity in what God is telling us to go do. Now you might say, well, what do we do if we don't get the same thing? Well, in Ephesians chapter 4, it says, "Be diligent to preserve the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace." So we don't get angry, we don't get frustrated. We actually lean in together and continue to dialogue with the Lord together and hearing the voice of the Lord that would come through all the different people in the community. Again, this is something that can dramatically shift your community towards empowering people to hear from God and bring the word of the Lord. So a practical that you can do is to make time with your community to wait on the Lord together and giving them time to hear from God and to process what the Spirit of God is bringing to their heart, their mind, what they're feeling, and then create a safe place where they can share that and allow the word of the Lord to emerge through the different voices and the different people in the group. And again, there will be a greater confidence when it's unified and a greater ownership over what God is saying. So you can facilitate those times. And if you want to learn more about how to do that, you can go to my Hearing God's Voice course and go through that. And that'll give you some great principles that you can apply to your team.